we bought a cellar. Well, we bought a house, of course. We didn't just buy a cellar.
And thought, who better to help us build a crack cellar than the BOYZ?
We bought a house, and in it has a perfect cellar. We love crack climbing.
Yeah.
Would love to get like a bit about you, ideas for the crack cellar. I'll definitely take you down there and show you.
I'm Pete Whittaker. I am a professional rock climber, and I'm sort of half of the BOYZ, which I guess we're known for initially our off-width climbing, because that's where it sort of came about. But then in more recent years, I guess just crack climbing in general, and trying to bring crack climbing to the community and get people to enjoy it.
The BOYZ have also gone on to climb Cobra Crack, which is the hardest crack climb in North America, along with the first ascent of Century Crack, which is the hardest off-width in the world.
How did the idea for the cellar come about? I mean, I know like with Sheffield, there's like a bit of a history.
So I think it was more that is a space which can be used. Because before Tom lived in the house where he is now, where the cellar is, he actually had just like a small crack machine in his living room. And then when he moved house and there was a cellar there, then that's when we kind of started to build more things. And we moved that initial crack out of the thing and then strapped it to the roof there. Initially, that original crack just went in first, and then probably like 6 months later or something, we built the off-widthing stuff, because at that point we were really into off-width climbing. And then we decided to go and do Necronomicon, which is the 8B plus in Canyonlands, and that was like a thin hand crack. So then we added like a thin hand crack to it. And then I think it was the year after that, Tom got an extension to the house. Yeah. So there are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rooms, but now we have 2 extra rooms. And then when we got that, we just started like just strapping loads more cracks to the roof.
I'll show you the space that we have. So you can see we still got like, we're not fully unpacked yet, but the crack cellar kind of takes priority for me, because there's not many houses that have like a good crack cellar set up. We have this big wall. We're going to try to put like a moon board or something in here.
Oh, cool.
Kind of unlimited crack domain under here, and this is where it kind of gets like less built out.
What's the height down there? Is it? Can you stand up?
It is like 5 feet.
Yeah. No, that looks like a really good height for roof climbing.
Holy shit, there's light down here. And then this is like a bunch of insulation, but like in between, there's plenty of huge boards.
So much room down there. That's endless potential.
But yeah, so it just seems like it'd be stupid to not build something out.
Yeah, that looks perfect.
How did you get like the actual size you wanted? Would you be like, okay, cool, like go try a crack? We literally only placed greens this much in gauge. You go back, you like cut a couple jibs, and you're like, okay, that's this size. Put a couple of them together, plug a couple greens, and you're like, yep, that's it.
Yeah, pretty much that. Yeah, I think using cams is a good gauge, because that's kind of how we reference it outside when we're climbing as well. And then like, I know how that size is in the cellar, for example. I know I can do it, or I know this bit's going to be tricky.
Now it is on to roof crack building. You got to figure out what size you want the actual crack to be. So what are we doing? We're measuring cams at their optimal width. 2 5/8. Gold cam 1 7/8. Red 1 1/2. Green is 1 1/4.
Fraction side or dom.
7
7/8.
The wood to the different widths of the cracks. 3 2 1.75.
Like the thin hand crack, that's actually just made out of like 2x4 sort of wood.
Just like bigger, so like 2x8s maybe.
Yeah, 2x8 maybe. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Like you can get like pretty deep. You can get like a full hand in there.
Yeah, obviously the key with those ones is just to get like the nice one, not the rough sawn.
Alex has already planed many of the boards. which is this thing. Got a crazy blade. Got dips on ya. That blade. Instead of a power sander, a belt sander, which he asked for, cost me $180.
I know what the fuck I was doing.
But don't worry, we're returning in that shit.
I have no idea what I'm doing.
Although there can be like an element of pain of climbing cracks outside. When you're training, I think it's important to be like, you know, training the muscles and the fatigue and the physical aspect in your body, rather than stopping 20 minutes into the session because you're just like cut up to pieces. And also I think the other thing we've learned is like the flex aspect to it. All ours are non-adjustable, but we have like loads of spacers and tighteners between them, so there's basically like no flex in it. 2
pieces of wood, right, with like a wood spacer cut out, and then like your bolt, like a hole drilled through that, and like a bolt going through that, and like holding it.
Yeah, we've always just done it with screws, actually. Like pretty basic stuff, to be honest.
That's quite a sufficient 3, because a jam is like the sloppiest thing of all time. Terrible hand jam.
So it's good?
So it's good. Really put your weight on.
Well,
this is scary. I think you gotta offset it, this one further in.
But then this one's gonna be off of it, and then this we can't leave it out. Pick your poison, brother.
Let's glue and screw, and we'll deal with this later.
Okay.
So what are we doing?
We're countersinking holes in the attempt to not split this wood any worse than it already is.
Before we jump into this, do we need to pre-drill these?
That'd be ideal, but like the countersink bits that you got aren't long enough.
No, I know, but we have a million drill bits right here. Otherwise, then we're back to replacing these.
Yeah. Are you good at shaft measuring?
I've done it once or twice. Usually.
Nope, that's wrong. Though. That's how you measure a shaft.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought you measured them like this. We're in a dungeon. Any dirty jokes are allowed.
And we gotta line up those holes with that. Dungeon's about 30 degrees.
Temps. Is that good?
Temps.
Go tiny bit in. There you go. Stop. There you go. You're on. There you go. Perfect. We didn't split it.
Bobby B's thinking ahead. That's all I can say.
For once.
Cheers.
What?
It's pretty close on the edge. What about you put it in the hole that I need to see?
Oh, yeah, I thought you liked a challenge.
It's like flying from Ohio to do this shit wasn't the challenge enough.
And missing your flight wasn't the next challenge.
Yep, I missed my flight because I was drinking beer. Really expensive beer.
I think the other thing about the cracks, I mean, some people might disagree with this, but I think it's really worked for me and Tom, is not having the cracks adjustable. We've just like set it at the width, thin hands, for example, get on it. If it's too hard, we haven't made this adjustable, so we just have to climb on it anyway. So yeah, these things have always been like pretty difficult at the beginning, and then you start climbing on it and they just become easier. Basically, we have reds, golds, blues, a very small amount of greys, and then some off width. Oh, we have a little bit of fingers as well, but it's not like in a horizontal roof.
Were you guys setting based on specific projects?
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, all the cracks that are in the cellar, they're all relatable to some sort of project. That initial hand crack that Tom had in his living room was for Green Spit, and then we had the one which was for Sentry Crack, and then the thin hands for Necronomicon, and then in the last year or two, we used some more cupped hands for the Great Rift Bridge Motorway Bridge Boys crack. All the stuff we do down there is towards a project in a way.
Do you think it'd be better to have like almost a grid where maybe it's like eight cracks wide, and you'd like maybe only 20 feet long, and you're like this way, and then back this way, and then this way, or back this way.
I'm not sure. You know the thing I really like about Tom's cellar is that it feels like a route or something in a way. Like you're starting in one place and you're finishing in another place.
You can come over here to the other part of the cave. And I fixed one side, a couple inches off the back wall. Thinking this is a little too fucking savage for me, but I'm sure some crazy lunatic can get on this shit. But it's pretty stout, and it doesn't move either way. It doesn't really twist one way or the other. I got one bracket on one side, one bracket on the other side. And then down here, those are the homemade brackets, which is a little thicker steel than down here. These are just like standard ties that I think you can get from like any hardware shop or whatever.
Yeah.
And although they're decent, this one bent in the process of getting it up.
Which one do you prefer?
I like the angle ones that we're making.
How do you attach them to the roof?
Screwed like pillars into the supporting beams. So just like, again, 2x4 sort of stuff coming down, and then just strapped to the crack underneath it. Nothing's fallen down yet, anyway.
Nice.
Here we are. Multiple of the cracks have been hung. Check it out. We've got fat 3s down here. Then we're going way into 2s, which for me is absolute money size. Those of you who understand crack, that's money right there, perfect form. And then you work your way through the gap. Oh, he knocked out the beam, which looks beautiful. And you get yourself into thin hands, but still quite tasty. If you have your feet in there and your hands in here, you got a chance. And then the remaining cracks. All right, Doc, how are we mounting these?
Same as before.
Taking
a Lego bracket.
6-foot piece of 1.5 inch steel brackets and chopping them and then drilling holes in them.
The installs like this will help with the side-to-side sway.
I don't know, it looks equal if not more solid than the others.
That's what I was saying earlier, man.
So then let's install these other shitheads. A lot of hard work, not done by me.
You made all the decisions.
Yeah.
When I've been climbing in other people's on other people's crack machines, that is one thing that I do like about Tom's, in that you're starting here, finishing here. You're moving around a bit. It's quite nice.
Yeah.
It's never got boring because we've always just like, added a little bit here, a little bit there, like a different loop around here or whatever. And kind of just, there hasn't really been much plan to it, but it's always like felt interesting. And then for like thin hands, paddle hands, cupped hands, all that kind of stuff, if you train it in a roof and then go back to like normal crack climbing, like vertical stuff, just feels so easy.
You guys have just like a bunch of like mattresses and cushions down there for like falling.
Yeah. You just gathered stuff over the years. Yeah, cushions and mattresses, bouldering mats. Don't go spending loads of money on loads of bouldering mats. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Definitely not. This YouTube channel is not big enough to support that. We get one crash pad in, we'd be like, we're out of money.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I really need to pick something that's like a couple grades harder, or like a style that I suck at, to be like, okay, cool, like this is one, because then you build it, you can actually like get stronger on it for a while.
Yeah, you need I mean, projects should be hard, so need them to be
There you
hard.
go. Quote of the day.
Cool. Yeah, good stuff. Good luck. Keep me posted.
We hung the brackets and measuring them so that they are level.
Oh, and when you edit this, edit level for plumb.
Why? It's not
Because level is this way, plumb is this way.
For those of you idiots who didn't know, this is level, this is plumb. If you didn't know that, honestly, like, waste of space.
We call it a plumb line, plumber.
What the f does plumber mean
That's a
then?
good question, I don't know.
My case is rested. Oh, that's a perfect view. Unbelievable.
No, you get the other side, bro.
Why?
Because.
Boom! Roasted. Honestly, it feels like I'm in a YouTube video right now. There we go. Look at them. B to B. Let's consider butt to butt in this situation. How many of these brackets are we putting per
4 brackets
per 10-foot
per
crack?
10-foot length, and then screwing both 10-foot lengths together. You can see that with the 2x4s on either side right here.
Boom.
That's the like.
How they're connected to stop the swing. You mounted this one upside down.
I know.
Whatever. It'll make it more challenging. Honestly, it's a 2-inch crack. If you can't fucking do it, you're a chuffer anyway. Like all these different, like a decent amount of different places.
Well, let me know if you want me to do anything.
Yeah, maybe come help. And then to think about doing that many moves too, fully horizontal.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And here is how we have finished with 10 feet of 3s, 10 feet of 2-inch crack, goes into 1-inch crack here, then into 0.75, which no one's done, and then into the 1/2-inch crack was impossible, so we moved that vertical. You can see it's just splitter cracks. There's no jibs, nothing to grab onto or use your feet on besides the cracks. And no one has made it to the end yet. So I'm looking at you, Tom and Pete, whoever else is fired up and thinks they're a crack maniac. Hit me up. Let's see it done.
The off-widthing crack, because it was quite important to get the depth of it.
Yeah.
Like, or reasonably deep.
Yeah,
Quite funny,
inside of it.
yeah, it's quite funny because Tom, he basically ripped out an old kitchen from the house when he moved in.
Yeah.
And then just took the kitchen worktops down to the cellar, and then we used those. Overhanging 5s is not too bad actually. That's a decent size. When we put that up, we did put grip paint inside of it, but from using it a whole bunch, like I don't think that's a good idea. We've never used it since, just because it's too like unfriendly for training.